Joanna and the Threads of Time, Part 4. Cold arrived like truth. Clean, sharp, unapologetic. Joanna drew a breath and watched it bloom pale in the air below her. In, out, deep, slow. Snow lay unbroken across the land, a vast white field interrupted only by towering stones that rose from the ground like ancient teeth. Each was carved with deep angular markings, lines cut with such certainty they seemed less written than remembered. Wind moved hard over the open ground, but within the circle of stones, the air stilled. The lyre rested warm in her hands, its bare wood a quiet contradiction to the cold. At her side, the blue steadiness gathered again, cooler than the air, yet somehow sheltering. A figure emerged through the drifting snow. A woman wrapped in layered furs and woven wool, bone and amber braided into her hair. The lines in her face were not the marks of age, so much as of seeing. She stopped a few steps from Joanna. "You arrive carrying 3 disturbances," the woman said calmly. "A colour this land does not burn, a sound this land does not forge, and a presence this land does not birth." Joanna swallowed. "That feels impressively specific." The woman's gaze settled on the lyre. "Play," the woman said. Joanna glanced at the wind. "Here?" The woman lifted one brow. Joanna sighed. "Right, of course." She plucked a single string. The note flew clean through the cold. One rune stone flared faintly in response. Just a pulse, just a breath of violet light threading through the angular cuts. It faded almost at once, but it had answered. The woman inhaled slowly. "So," she murmured, "it remembers how to speak to turning." "Turning?" Joanna asked. "The wheel," the woman said. "Seasons, cycles, the places where things decide whether or not to remain hard or become something that can move again." Joanna glanced at the rune that had glowed. "I was hoping I hadn't just altered destiny," she said carefully. The woman smiled at that. "No one alters the wheel," she replied, "but some remind it how to turn." A faint coolness brushed Joanna's awareness. The woman's eyes flicked briefly to the empty air beside her. "You carry steadiness," she observed. "That is rarer here than strength." Joanna exhaled. "It's helpful." The woman stepped aside, giving Joanna the space to look again at the stones. In the nearest rune, the last trace of violet still lingered in one of the carved grooves. No longer light, but memory of light. Joanna studied her hands around the lyre. "How is it," she asked softly, "that every place already knows this shape better than I do?" The woman's voice gentled. "Because you are remembering across distance," she said, "and the instrument has never left the circle of listening." Snow whispered against stone, and the wind resumed its restless dance beyond the ring. Joanna stood quietly between cold and warmth, between movement and pause, and the breath within her remained free. The cold did not disappear. It thinned. Wind softened first, loosening from force into motion. Snow brightened into pale dust, then into suspended light. The ground beneath Joanna's feet remained firm for one breath longer. In, out, deep, slow, and then became something else entirely. She stood in a chamber formed of quiet movement. Its walls were neither stone nor air, but layers of slow-turning current, like invisible weather made visible by the way it carried sound. Runes drifted along one arc of the room. Along another, unfamiliar wedge-shaped marks pulsed in steady pattern. The 2 languages moved through one another without colliding. At the centre of the chamber, a clay tablet hovered. It rotated lazily, as if moved by breathing itself. Each face bore a different script. As it turned, carved lines thinned into wedges, wedges softened into curves, curves scattered into points of light. Then the process reversed again, constellations condensing back into symbol. The lyre floated in front of her now, no longer carried, but still connected. Its strings hummed faintly with no sound, but with pressure, like air tightening before a change in weather. Joanne stepped closer. With each inhale, the tablet turned more quickly. With each exhale, it slowed. She noticed it without surprise. Breath as motion, she murmured. At the edge of the chamber, the blue steadiness gathered again, cool, witnessing, never intervening. One face of the tablet rotated into view and began to organize itself. Bricks formed, reeds rose, hands shaped wet clay. A stepped tower climbed slowly towards a pale sky. Joanna felt the pull in her chest, not forceful, but inevitable. Another beginning, she said quietly. She reached out. The clay crumbled as her finger touched it, not into dust, into drifting violet light. The wind chamber folded inward, and the dream released her.